The heavy air of a late afternoon weighed over the modest neighborhood of Havenwood, where Elena Sanchez made her way home from the market with quiet determination. Her bag contained only bread and fruit, meager provisions for her and her son. Yet she walked with the unshakable dignity of a woman who had endured countless indignities without bowing. Life had etched lines of hardship into her face, but her spirit remained unbroken. She had survived years of whispered slurs and judging glances, learning long ago that true strength was not loud, but silent, persistent, and unyielding. Still, that day felt ominous, as though the street itself were holding its breath. The sudden screech of tires shattered the silence. A patrol car pulled up beside her, two officers stepping out with rigid uniforms and eyes filled with disdain. One sneered as his gaze swept over her. "What's in the bag, old woman?" Elena's voice trembled, though she tried to hold it steady. "Bread and fruit. For my son." The bag was torn from her hands, its contents scattered across the pavement. A boot crushed the fruit, pulp smearing into the cracks of the street, while laughter rang out sharp and cruel. "Papers," the second officer demanded, crowding into her space. She reached for her ID, but the first slammed her against the wall with sudden violence. "Resisting, are you?" His hand cracked across her cheek, blood welling on her lip. Neighbors watched from behind curtains, some recording with their phones, none daring to intervene. Bound in cuffs, Elena refused to cry. She thought only of her son, the boy she had raised to value justice, now a man sworn to protect strangers in uniform. While she was humiliated at home, in the patrol car, their jeers cut like knives. "People like you, always playing the victim," one muttered. The other smirked. "Bet her kid's a thug, too." She turned her face to the window, lips pressed tight. Their cruelty could not strip her of her silence. The precinct. They paraded her down the sterile halls like a trophy. "What's this, Granny? Steal from the market? Well, maybe drugs in the bread bag." Their laughter echoed in the cold concrete space until she was locked in a damp cell. Alone in the shadows, she clung to one memory, her son's childhood voice promising her, "Mom, I'll protect you one day. I'll take care of you the way you took care of me." Outside those walls, the truth had already begun to spread. A neighbor's shaky video of the arrest erupted across social media. Tens of thousands watched in horror, outraged comments flooding in. "That's Ms. Elena. She's no criminal. She's one of the hardest working people around." The clip soon reached the only person who mattered most. Hours later, the precinct doors slammed open. Silence fell as a figure strode in with crisp uniform and steel in his step. Lieutenant Alex Grant, Elena's son. His gaze swept the room with icy precision, the air itself seeming to bow under his presence. "Where's Elena Sanchez?" His voice was low, thunderous, impossible to ignore. A pale officer pointed down the corridor. Alex marched forward, boots striking hard against the floor, until he saw her. His mother, bruised, swollen, but still carrying the same pride that had always defined her. "Mom," he whispered, the word thick with pain. He ordered the cell opened, steady hands helping her out. His eyes then locked on the two officers lingering nearby, their bravado already slipping. "Was it you?" His whisper was deadlier than any shout. She resisted. "We thought." One began, but Alex's ID slammed onto the counter. His rank gleamed in the harsh light. "I am Lieutenant Alex Grant. I am her son. You didn't just abuse your authority. You assaulted the mother of a military officer." The room froze. A neighbor burst through the door with his phone raised. "It's everywhere. Everyone's watching." The viral video blazed across the screen, tens of thousands of voices demanding justice. The officers' faces drained of color, arrogance collapsing into panic. Alex drew his mother close, his voice burning with quiet fury. "She is not a criminal. She sacrificed everything to raise me with discipline and respect. While you disgraced your uniforms, she gave me the values that made me a soldier. Because of her, I am who I am." The precinct chief rushed in, beads of sweat shining on his forehead. "Lieutenant, please, this must be a misunderstanding." But no excuses could erase what the video revealed. Witnesses stepped forward, pointing without hesitation to the two men responsible. Their swagger had vanished, their bones trembling beneath the weight of exposure. Alex's voice was low, controlled, merciless. You mocked her. You struck her. You thought she was alone. His gaze locked on them, unblinking, cold as iron. But she has never been alone. The silence was suffocating. Every eye in the room watched, waiting, breath held tight. Elena touched her son's arm gently, her voice soft but firm. Alex, don't. Yet her words faltered when she saw the storm blazing in his eyes. The two officers shrank back, pale and trembling, tasting for the first time the fear they had so easily inflicted on others. And in that suspended moment, everyone present understood one chilling truth. This was not the end. It was only the beginning. The precinct stood frozen, tension pressing against every wall. A few officers who had laughed earlier now avoided eye contact, shame written across their faces. The contrast was undeniable. A weary mother with unbroken dignity, and two men trembling under the weight of their actions. The chief cleared his throat, trying to regain control. "Lieutenant, let us handle this internally." Alex's voice cut sharp and unyielding. "No, justice is not handled in whispers. What happened here will be seen by the entire country. You didn't just assault my mother. You shattered the trust of every citizen you swore to serve." A murmur rippled through the gathering crowd, and then scattered applause. Elena, sensing her son's fury mounting, touched his arm lightly. Her voice, though soft, carried the authority of a lifetime's wisdom. "Son, don't let anger rule you. True justice isn't vengeance. Let them live with the truth of what they've done, and may it haunt them longer than any punishment." Her calmness cooled the fire in him. In her restraint, he saw the strength that had shaped him since childhood. That moment, a superior military officer entered, briefed quickly on the situation. His judgment was swift. "Arrest them." Gasps filled the room as the two officers were cuffed before their peers, their humiliation mirroring the cruelty they had inflicted. But this time, there was no violence, only the cold, suffocating weight of disgrace. The precinct erupted in applause. Elena, though bruised, stood tall. Alex, finally breaking, held her tightly, tears staining his face. "I'm sorry, Mom. I swore to protect you, and I wasn't here." She brushed his cheek with her trembling hand. "You have nothing to regret. You arrived when it mattered. Today, you didn't just protect me. You defended everyone who has ever been silenced." By the next day, Elena's story had swept across the nation. The viral video played on every screen, an image of injustice turned into a symbol of resilience. The caption that followed her name was the same everywhere: "No one is above human dignity." Days later, she stood before rows of soldiers at a military base. No medal was pinned to her chest. Instead, she was honored with something greater: the reverent silence of men and women who recognized her courage. Alex addressed the crowd, his voice steady. "She is my mother, my reason for serving. If you see me fight for justice, it's because she showed me what it means." The audience rose to its feet in a standing ovation. Elena bowed her head, humility in her eyes. "I'm not a hero. I am a mother who dreams of a world where dignity is never questioned." That night, in her quiet home, she told her son, "When you promised to protect me as a boy, I thought it was a dream. But now I see it was truth." He took her hand gently. "Mom, you protected me first. I'm only returning what you gave me: love, courage, and dignity." And in the stillness of that moment, they both understood the true victory was not in punishment, but in the endurance of hope.